Right, so Monday morning, Tokyo's about to open up for gold, and I'm just basically looking at this 5,000 level. We're coming up into this big psychological level, 5,000. Gold's just basically had a run up the last week or so, and we've found some support here, and we've just opened up. So we've opened up above this level. So I'm looking to potentially short here, just depending on how this first candle closes. There's a lot of aggressive buying there in that first open, so we can see some pretty big volume, huge volume coming in there. So we'll see how this closes. We've rallied up hard and we haven't really shown any signs of rejecting off this 5,000, so I like the idea of just the long continuations. I'm going to keep my stop pretty wide in case we do want to come down and test this 5,000 before moving higher. But yeah, we've got a lot of volume here, so we'll see if we can hold that as support. 5,000, we are regaining back that level. This is my entry. I got another long in down here at this high volume area. So this is my average price now, 5,018, and I'm just going to try and target just ahead of this 5,050 level. Obviously we don't know how high this might go, but this is a reasonable psychological level. Here, I'm just going to try and take one off above this high if we can get it, and then I'll trail the next one. Okay, great. So one off, I'm going to get my other stop to break even at this point. Alright, I've decided to get off there. It was a very nice push, pretty good profit on that, so 371 on that trade. The size was a bit bigger than what I was comfortable with in the end, just with how much this is moving. I'm just getting long here again, just with two lots, much smaller size. I was just in far too big a size there for this range. I sort of reduced my size before getting into that trade. So I just took the other trade off for a bit under 400, which is great. And now I'm just letting this idea actually play out now to see if we can break the high and get a continuation, but with a much more reasonable size. Where even if we dip down and I get another long, it's still not going to be too big. It was just too much size before, and I sort of realized that mid-trade, so I didn't really want to sit through a big drawdown, potentially blow the account. So we'll see how this goes. If we get break of this high, this is probably where I'll potentially look to get to break even. I'm going to break even at this point, and I'm just going to watch this. I'm going to potentially trail up behind this high volume node if we get a nice pop of that high as well. See what we want to do. Just need this high to break, and then I'm going to go behind this high volume node. Okay, that's where my stop goes, and then now we hopefully get a flush. Yeah, otherwise it's still a nice profitable trade, because we might test it, drop back in, and then range for a bit before we go higher. So I want to make sure I get something off this trade. I'm targeting all the way up here into the 50s, but I'll just watch volume as it goes up if we do get that that break continuation. Hopefully I don't get tagged out here, but if I do, that's fine. I can always re-enter, but I'll switch over to the other account because this will be a nice profitable day on this one, on this account. I'm going to go behind this bar now, and then once we pop this high, I'm going to aggressively scale up here as well. Alright, we're popping that high, so we need to either just go now. Alright, that's fine. Got stopped out. That's still a good trade. So two trades off this idea, this initial run up, strong aggressive buying, came back, tested, held, and we've popped up. We're probably going to rally higher, but I'm going to look for more entries now on the other account, because for this account we got 579 for the day, which is excellent. My target is 200 to 300 a day with these funded accounts, so that's a really healthy, profitable day on that one. And now I'll switch over to the other funded account, and so Pro 2, and then I'll look for some more longs. Limit order here, just at the bottom edge of this. We basically dipped under into this demand, and we had a nice push up. So we've got this now, we've got this little demand area here, and then we also have this high volume node, which corresponds to the bottom edge of this distribution, this overall volume distribution that we're forming. So I'm just going to try a buy limit just off this bottom edge of the value, just looking for the bottom edge to try this demand and then to basically push higher from there. So we'll see if we get filled. Looks like we will. Ultimately, all right, so I'm long there. Ultimately, I was looking for, when we're coming down here, I was really looking for a test down to this 5,000 because we really haven't tested it. A dip under and then a push back up. I think we're still going to get that, but we might want to push a little bit higher before we get that. But I'll just trade what's in front of me. And at the moment, we're forming this range and Delta's still pushing up. So got to go with the long side on this. And then with the trade management, I can get my stops below this low. Looks like we've got 2 partial fills, which might actually be good. I might actually split up my take profits in that case. One just for a break of the high, and then the second one I'll target. I'll have a stretch target of 45 if you want to have a good push. Nice bounce off the bottom edge of this value area. So I'm going to get my stop now below this low, just to reduce most of my risk on this. The reason being is I still think we want to probably come down and test the 5,000 level. That's a really good place for a long. But so I don't have extreme conviction in this trade, but I'm trading what's presenting in front of me in terms of the order flow on the auction. So there's no point in me having my stop any lower now that we've dipped into this demand, which was the very bottom edge of this value area. Now we're pushing up. We've got some aggressive selling coming in here as well. So we've got some aggressive selling, aggressive buying. We've got some aggressive buying coming in here at the top. So that's also a good sign. We'll see if we can continue. You can see the aggressive buying continue to come in here. High volume printed, positive delta. So we want this to continue, this aggressive buying here. If price can push up above that, we can add some more fuel. We've also got we're printing nice positive delta. The only potential problem is if we don't push above this, then we might have some trap longs at this point, but it looks pretty good. Looks like the fuel's getting added there. So at this point, I think I'll go to not quite break even, but I'm just going to get behind this little high volume node because we're having a nice enough push up. And I think the break even point for me will be a break at this high. So if we can break this high, at that point I'll probably look to get to break even. So most of the risk is off the trade now, and it really just depends. Are we going to go sideways then dip back down into the 5,000, or are we going to actually have a breakout? Given what the volume profile is looking like at this point, we're just building a lot of activity in this area, so I'm not sure that we will get the breakout, but what I'll do is I'll get one off just at the top of this high, and then I'll let the other one trail. Okay, so that's definitely a break even at that point. And hopefully we can just get a pop of this high, get one off. Got some aggressive selling here, right there. All right, that's a nice push. So we're pretty close now. I'm actually going to jam this up. All right, that's fine. And then with the next one, I'm going to go behind this volume node and behind this bar, see if we can get a continued. All right, that's fine. So both out there. The reason I'm aggressive with the take profits here is we're building out this profile, right? So we're building this out, and I still think this thing wants to break out, but we might just continue to do this, right? We might just rally up into the highs, aggressive selling comes in and we dump, which is what's happening here. So you can see that aggressive selling in there at the top. Now we're dumping. But yeah, so that was a nice trade. Trying one more little long here. Basically just a one lot, just a very small trade in from here. We had this little dip back down. I thought about getting in on a limit order here at the top edge of this volume, but again, I'm still thinking we might want to come down and test the 5,000. That was my initial plan from the start of the session, but we haven't done it. We continue to push up, and cumulative delta is just continuing to rise. It's just more and more aggressive buying. So I got into a little long on the break of this, and what the plan is I'm just going to let this ride out to see if we want to get up into this 45-50 area. A significant pullback like we are now, probably back down into this volume area. Then I might add another one to see if we want to continue. This is more of, I would call this more of a intraday swing trade than anything else. Busting this high, no fill for me, so sad. Didn't come back down to where I was looking at. But yeah, we're breaking this high. I'd probably look to get this trade off with this next leg up. So I'm going to get my stop right up here. If we get that pop of that level, I'll look to get, really want it to flush. There we go, that's a pretty good flush. I'm going to put my stop there, probably get taken out. That's fine. So that was a nice trade. Got that nice push up. We had an interesting little reaction here and I was very close to adding. We basically had some aggressive sellers come in there just on that little dip down, which you can see down here. So we had some pretty big aggressive selling right at the bottom of that, and then we shot back up pretty hard. So that was a good little spot. Doing the same thing here again, right? So this is still looking all pretty bullish, but that's fine. I've made some pretty good trades this morning. We actually had a massive run up through this high. I missed this here. This was a really nice spot to get a trade. So basically a dip under that area. Basically a dip under, try, and then a nice imbalance back up, and then you had this high volume area to hold to move high. So I missed this trade. This was an A trade. This was a really nice setup. Missed that. I'm just building a long position here, not with huge size. Just going to try and add another trade here, another one lot. If we just want to dip under this bar low, it's a pretty good area to add. All right, so there we go. Added another one. So my average price now is 50.47.5. Aggressive selling coming in here. So this will be interesting to see what happens if this volume gets flipped. So yeah, hopefully we can basically flip these aggressive sellers that are all probably looking for this trend line break. This point of control, I'm having a nice reaction. I put another limit order there, so I got another fill right at the point of control, or just above it. And now I'm at 45.6 here. I got a bit aggressive here and added. We've basically swept this low. We've got some pretty big size on here, so just going to watch this. Probably start taking this off. This is my new average price. We've got some aggressive sellers, and then we had some aggressive buying coming in, so I just added another 5 lot. So this is, I like this now, but I do have quite a bit more size on than I probably would like. But the trade is playing out here. Probably going to get some of this off as we kind of come up, just to reduce the size I've got on a bit. Okay, so getting a nice push here. So I might be looking at another leg up, which would be nice. Going to start taking this off. Just going to scale up. Exit as we kind of flush up here. Hopefully we can just continue this push. Okay. Let's get some more off. Okay, let's get a bit more off here. Okay, good, nice. That's a good push. I'm going to get this 5 lot off as well. Alright, so great. So I'm going to leave this last one on to see if we want to break that high. So my average price is 33.6. I'm just going to go behind this bar. Let this play out, see if we want to break this high. Got a bit aggressive there with the scaling, but I do like the overall idea. And yeah, that was a really nice push. So that put it up quite a bit for the day. and I'll go behind the bar now. Just going to trail up as we go. So I got caught offside there. All right, fine. So I'm out of that trade. I'm happy, to be honest, I'm happy to be out of that trade. It drew down quite a lot more than what I was liking on that. Basically started averaging in hard when we got this break. And this was really the final point. I saw this aggressive selling coming in, and then at that point, the size wasn't too big still at that point. It was manageable. But when that aggressive selling came in, and then we flipped it, and then we had this aggressive buying. So basically, we basically had, you can see there, we basically had this aggressive selling come in. Price kicked back up, and then once we kicked back up, came back down, and this aggressive buying came in. I doubled down on the size at that point. And then we had this nice move, right? So that's good. Made about 450 on that, 500 on that particular trade. So this is a really good profit for the day. So I'm going to call it that on the funded accounts. Definitely got on a bit more size here than I would have liked. It worked out and it was a nice trade. However, I shouldn't have probably scaled in as much. I should have given it a lot more room to add, because I still like the overall idea of the pullback and the continuation, which is what's happening, but just got in a bit heavy. But this is a really good sign when we flush a low, like when we sweep a low like that, we've got these aggressive sellers. They basically, and then we reclaim that area, they get trapped, and then when we come back down, and then when we have aggressive buyers off that same level, that's a really good indication that we might get that there might be, underwater, and we might get a squeeze and a flush up, which is what happened, but a bit too much risk. Anyway, good morning, nice and profitable.